And welcome back to the show. Since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, there has been a blood shortage as well as an increase in the need for food bank services. Well, New York Blood Center is partnering with Feeding New York State for their Save One, Feed One campaign and will be donating on behalf of every presenting blood donor who registers to make a donation in their honor. Joining us now and sharing more details, we are pleased to have the manager at special events and projects at New York Blood Center, Christine M. Foran. And Christine, good to have you. And as we talk about this here, this is a marriage of two not-for-profit organizations really coming together to make a difference in the lives of New Yorkers.
Yeah, it's a great description. It really is. New York Blood Center, we've been around since 1964, working to make sure that all blood needs are met for our community. It takes about 2,000 pints every day to supply the New York hospitals. So that has obviously been our main focus. And since the pandemic, we've been greatly affected by it. Donations would always come from, places of business, schools, places of worship, community blood drives. Once the pandemic came, that all shut down. If you recall, people weren't going into work anymore. Schools all went remote. So that source of blood donation dried up as well. And that was really a huge impact on us.
Yeah.
As we've been rebounding, we've been bringing back those drives, and school blood drives are back. Corporate blood drives are really slowly returning. Really our donor centers and our community-based donors and getting out the word to how important blood donation is has been key to us. But also greatly impacted by this blood by the pandemic has been Feeding New York State and the food banks across America. Feeding New York State is actually part of the larger Feeding America organization. And, in kind of looking at the situation, the problem is bigger than just blood. The problem is food as well. So we thought, this could be a great partnership and a chance to help others as well as patients in hospitals, but as well as help people who are hungry.
Yeah. So you've got the Save One, Feed One campaign, and that's designed to helping people in the area of blood donation, getting those donors out there, and at the same time also being able to help food insecurity in New York City. Can you share with us a little bit about how that program is going to launch out?
It's a great program. It is called Save One, Feed One, but interestingly enough, one blood donation can save up to 3 lives, and $1 can help feed four people. So, I mean, potentially you have the chance to really help 7 lives here. So the way it works is people need to come to a New York Blood Center blood drive. They're very easy to find. If you just go to nybc.org and hit donate, you'll find a ton of options to donate blood. We have donor centers, we have mobiles. So they need to come into one of a drive, and then they need to go on our website and register and saying, yeah, I want to help the food bank, so that we know that they really would like to help and make sure. And for every donor that does this, we will donate $1 towards the food bank. This program will run from March 1 to March 31. So all donations in between March 1 and March 31 are eligible. And what's great is, I know I'm personally going to donate on March 13th. I've already registered my donation. I want to make sure that that my dollar is going to go to the food bank. So I've already gone in advance to register. And donors can do that. If they know they have an upcoming appointment, they can go to nybc.org and register their donation and then still donate anytime during the month of March.
So if a person wants to donate blood, maybe they've never done it before, give our viewers an opportunity to know about the process. They go, they donate blood. How long is the process for a person that wants to give a donation?
The actual process takes about an hour is what we tell everybody. And, I know everybody out there has taken an hour commuting, taken an hour going to the gym, taken an hour looking at their phone. I'm sure they can find an hour to donate blood. They'll come in, they will go through a registration process, an online screening process where we ask a number of questions, including, are you feeling well and healthy today? We'll ask some various questions about medications. Most medications are completely eligible, but if somebody might have just been on antibiotics, something like that. So we'll go through a deferral screening questionnaire. From there, they go on to what we call medical history. They'll get their blood pressure taken, their pulse, their iron, and they'll review those questionnaires, making sure that somebody is eligible to give blood. From there, they go on to the actual donation process. That's when they actually lie on the bed and donate their blood. And that's about 10 minutes. And from there, everybody goes to the favorite part, which is canteen, and that is juice and cookies. So you're going to get yourself some Lorna Doones, some Oreos, some chips, and we're just going to make sure that you're feeling well after your donation, and then you'll go on about your day. But within an hour, to think that you can actually go in there and save 3 lives and potentially feed 4 people, what a great way to spend an hour.
Yeah. We've talked a little bit about earlier about the pandemic and how you've actually been affected, and blood donation shortages really continuing, and getting donors a hard thing to do given the fact that we've been on lockdown. Are you sensing a good rebound in this area given the fact that we're moving closer and closer out of this pandemic? We're out of the worst stages. Are you sensing a rebound?
We're sure trying to, and we are seeing, we did get a little bit of a bump in donations recently, but unfortunately, then, like, for example, like the little ice storm that happened last weekend, anything like that can impact donations. As people are saying, stay off the roads. Well, they're staying off the roads, and they're certainly not going to donor centers when the weather hits or something bad. So unfortunately, it's such a volatile type of situation, in that blood donations can be good and we're ramping up, and then something can happen that can impact us. And blood only lasts 42 days, so similar to food being perishable, blood is perishable. So people can donate blood every 56 days up to 6 times a year, but blood is perishable, and after 42 days that donation you made wouldn't be good anymore. But here's the thing: we're not even seeing blood last 42 days on the shelf. Blood is going in and out of our system in 5 days or less. Right now, we really are trying to rebound. We like to be within that 5 to 7 day range, and we're a little under that right now, and we're really trying to come back from that. So a 5 to 7 day is an ample blood supply that can help us be better.
Yeah. So you're partnering, as we said, there is a partnership that's going to take place, and people will also be able to help in the area of food transportation through food insecurity that's affecting so many people here in New York. Are you confident that this particular program will be able to be a one that actually really makes a long-standing difference?
We are really optimistic. I want to say I'm confident because that's just my nature, but we're also super optimistic. We've even said, hey, we're hoping that this is going to become an annual March event. And interestingly enough, we chose March because people tend to be very generous with the food banks around the holidays. Everybody's always thinking about donating others and helping others. In March is when the food banks are starting to be impacted. And, New Yorkers are hungry. I have a statistic here. That over 3 million New Yorkers are food insecure. 3 million, that's a huge number. And 1 in 6 New Yorkers rely on the charity food bank. So if we could help them, and then also make sure that blood is there for patients in need, because, cancer patients are the #1 users of blood, accident victims, burn victims, they all need blood. So if we can make sure that food is there for people who are hungry and blood is there for patients who need it, it would be a great system.
So how does one go about making an appointment? I know that you said it only takes about an hour, but if somebody wants to make an appointment and do this, how do they go about doing that?
They have 2 options. They can call 1-800-933-2566, which actually transfers out to 1-800-933-BLOOD. Or they can go to our website, nybc.org, which is obviously short for New York Blood Center. So nybc.org. There's a donate button right there, and they can go in there, put in a zip code, and find the closest blood drive right to them.
Yeah. You mentioned cancer patients a little earlier as the #1 recipient for blood donations. Who are some of the other recipients that are actually receiving these donations?
Cancer patients are the #1, which everybody thinks accident victims, and accident victims do use a lot of blood. But burn victims can use blood. Newborn babies can use blood. Sickle cell patients actually use a lot of blood, and we partnered with a number of them to help get their word out. Thalassemia, they require 2 transfusions every other week. Um, so many diseases, and then sometimes, childbirth. I've heard of mothers in childbirth needing blood. Various surgeries. So it's amazing. Blood is therapeutic, and blood is life, and that's why it's so important that blood is always on the shelves. A lot of people say, "Oh, well, I'll donate blood if a family member or a friend needs it," but what people don't realize, it's the blood on the shelf today that's helping tomorrow's accident victim. Every blood unit that we get is tested and processed and make sure that it's eligible to be transfused. And the reason why we say that, one donation can save 3 lives is we take the blood and we split it into components. We split it into red cells, we split into platelets, and into plasma.
Yeah. Before we go, I know we have to end the segment, but I do want to get this question in there. Is there anybody that's not eligible to donate blood, or is there some things that people should know that if I might have a good heart, but I may not be the right person to donate blood under certain circumstances? Would you please share?
Sure. I mean, quickly, I can tell you, you need in New York State, you need to be at least 16 with parental consent or 17 to 76. You need to weigh at least 110 pounds. You need to be feeling well and healthy. There are various medications that might restrict you from donating blood. Approximately 60% of the population is eligible to give blood on any given day. But we have all of this information on our website as well. So if somebody's curious and they want to donate blood, they can certainly find it all there, or that 1-800 number I gave earlier, 1-800-933-BLOOD, they will be able to help them and go through. But once they get in, like I said, we will go through a screening questionnaire with everybody there too.
Yeah. Christine, thank you so much for joining us and being here with us. Great work making sure that people are helping in the area of donating blood. It's much needed across New York City. And then also tackling another huge issue, food insecurity across these 5 boroughs. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate this.
All righty. Well, we want our viewers to know if you want more information, listen, you can go to the website at nybc.org/save one, feed one. And then also you can follow them on Facebook as well as Instagram at New York Blood Center. We do have more show coming up. We encourage you, don't go anywhere. Open's going to continue coming up right after this.